there's this guy online, this great guitar teacher named Tony, and he did this like roundup of acoustic guitar lesson websites. And so he included mine, and he started by saying, now this guy's great. I've been following him since I was a kid. And like, I've been reading Tysko since I was a kid, so this Tony punk better watch out for you, man, because you've got the goods on him. Anyway, I was going to say something about this next song, and now so I had these records by Stefan. So my guitar teacher had this really super hip guitar teacher named Jeff Wyman in high school, and his hobby was he was arranging the Bach inventions for solo classical guitar, like both parts, and he could just it was crazy cool, and I couldn't do it, and he eventually finished it, I think, like 20 years later, but man, this is feeding back like bonkers. Anyway, he taught me that guitar tune, Angie, right? And he taught me like 8 bars, and I was like, I practiced it all week. I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life. Is there more? He was like, that's the only one like that I know. I was like, dude, you gotta be kidding me. I said, where do I get that one? He's like, Paul Simon, it's on a Simon and Garfunkel record. Because Simon and Garfunkel, Paul Simon had gone to England in the early 60s and met, this sucks. I like hearing a ton of me in the monitors, but it's feeding back like crazy, so I can't get what I want, and that's just too bad for me. Anyway, I went to the mall with my mom to get the Simon and Garfunkel record because he'd learned the song from, who's the guy who wrote it? Davy Graham wrote Angie originally, this British guitar player. And so I went to find the Simon and Garfunkel record, and then I was going through the folk ghetto in the back of the Strawberries record store, like the one bin with the 10 folk records at the mall. And they had this Stefan Grossman and John Renbourn record. I knew who they were because I had Guitar Player magazine, and they had just done a feature on them. And all I knew about John Renbourn was he had like a Guild guitar and he smoked a Gaulois, and he looked fucking cool. And I was like, I want to learn what that guy's doing. So I bought the record and then found out that those were the guys, that John Renbourn was one of the guys who learned directly from Davy Graham. So just cut Paul Simon out of the loop completely. I got that record, and that had this song. The second one had a song. The second one I got the second one first. They made a first record, I got that one first. And it had this song on it that went like this, which was just ridiculous. It had this little bass line, but it kept kind of wrapping around funny. And I was like, that's pretty cool, man. I want to learn how to do that. And then it kept going, and one guy started going. And I was like, stop the presses. How does that work? So I had to learn how to do that. And anyway, at the end of the record, they did this song called Mississippi Blues, which had been recorded in Pete, you're going to tell me out, 1942, William Brown, is that right? Yeah, this guy William Brown made 4 tracks altogether, sides, I believe the blues aficionados call them, 4 sides. And one of them was this ridiculous blues that sounded like nobody else. And everybody played it in the 60s because it was like this cool instrumental. So if you were like a guy like Stefan Grossman who didn't sing, you needed a tune with a melody, you learned Mississippi Blues. And it's really hard to play, so I finally was like, I gotta write a blues in A that's not Mississippi Blues so I can actually remember it. And so this is that one. Wasn't that worth it? All right, I fished for that one.